he did that for like 5 years, and then they came to him and they were changing everything.
I never
again.
said anything
So
against
you either have to
anyone,
do
so I'm
an
not-
extensive training program where you gotta find another job. And he saw this job, because he
There you
had
go.
tried out to be a Navy SEAL, you know.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Before we rise, the flag salute, Mr. Mayor is going to read something about one of our firefighters, correct?
Yeah, so it's with a heavy heart that I have to report that we lost one of our own firefighters and my friend, Mike Weyerback Sr., from Fire Company Number 1. He was 61 years old. We all grew up together in Ventnor, roller skating rink, and it's tragic. He unexpectedly became ill a few months ago, and he just passed away this week. You know, and we want to extend our deepest condolences to Mike's family, and if we can have a moment of silence after the flag salute. Thank you.
So if you all rise for the flag salute and then a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, if we could have a moment of silence.
Rest in peace. Thank you.
Amen.
You on?
Yep.
You hear now? Hear me now?
Yeah, can-
All right.
Here we go. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember DePamphlis.
Here.
Councilmember Dill.
Here.
Councilmember Garrity.
Here.
Councilmember Johnston. Here. Councilmember McGuigan.
Here.
Councilmember Owen.
Here.
Council President Habercorn.
Present, and also present is Mayor Tapp, Administrator Frost, City Clerk Keith, and City Solicitor Smith. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. The agenda for this meeting is posted in City Hall and on the city's website, summerspointgov.org. Pursuant to City Code A266-8P, and to afford everyone an opportunity to address the governing body, the public may speak only one time, not to exceed 3 minutes. Tonight, we are going to do things a little differently. We are going to present the budget first, and we are going to have 3 resolutions associated with that. So I am going to ask for a motion to open for public comment on resolutions number 95, 96, and 97 only. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any comments? Not hearing any comments, we are now open for public comment on resolutions only, number 95, 96, and 97. Thank you.
Motion to close the public portion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. We are closed for public session on number 95, 96, and 97 resolutions related to the budget. 95?
Resolution number 95 of 2025, read budget by title only.
May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
A second?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. Resolution number 95 is adopted. Resolution number 96.
Resolution number 96 of 2025, self-examination of the 2025 budget.
May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any comments? Not hearing any comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. Resolution 96 is adopted. Number 97?
Resolution number 97 of 2025, the adoption of the 2025 municipal budget.
Before I entertain a motion, I'd like to have Leon Costello, the city auditor, come up and make some comments, please.
Thank you. So tonight is the public hearing on the budget, which you have opened up to the public already. And this budget is the identical budget that you introduced 4 weeks ago. It is a 1.9 cent tax increase, one of the lower ones in the area. As you've been reading the papers, you've probably seen some 2s, 3s, 4s that have popped up. You're well within both caps. You could spend more money if you want to, and you actually could raise another $1 million, $1.1 million in taxes if you so desired. I know that's not your desire, but you are well within the caps, and this is a legal budget. Both Shane and I will swear that it is, because we both have to sign off on it. That's what that one resolution said, that we're self-exam, so the state doesn't look at this one. It meets everything that was required. There were several meetings with the Budget Committee to go over this, maybe 3 or 4, and whittled it down to where it is right now, and it's a very sound budget. It's not hurting anything in the future, and it should provide well for you.
Any comments for Mr. Costello? Thank you.
What,
Go ahead.
just real quick, and you and I had discussed this earlier, is the loss of state funding in this
Yes.
budget represents how much did we lose this year?
We lost $100,000, which is almost exactly a penny
Okay.
in state aid.
Thank you.
If you saw the article from Upper Township, they lost $650,000,
Right.
which is 3.5 cents. It's all over the place. It's,
Sure.
And what hasn't gone up that you've bought lately? I mean, let's face it, everything that you buy now is more than it was 2 years ago, more than it was last year. It's just going through the roof, all the prices.
Right, so the increase you stated was 1.98 cents?
Yes,
And that equated to 2% or,
1.76%.
right?
Yeah. You're well under the cap. You could, again, if you wanted to, levy another $1,100,000, but I know that's not what you want to do.
Right. Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else from Mr. Costello at this time? If not, thank you, Leon, for your help.
Thank you.
And we have a motion and a second for resolution number 97.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Did I hear a second?
Yes.
Any comments? Not hearing any comments, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember DePamphlis.
Yes.
Councilmember Dill.
Yes.
Councilmember Garrity.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnston.
Yes.
Councilmember McGuigan.
Yes.
Councilmember Owen.
Yes.
Council President Habercorn.
Yes. Resolution 97 and the 2025 budget is adopted. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to move from the budget. We're going to have a special presentation from Dr. Traki and his group. So if you,
Can I have like 5 minutes? Getting it set up.
okay,
Give the 5% everything.
all right. You know what, while we're doing that, and we're waiting for that, let's move on
Ordinance.
let's move on to any communications. How's that? Do we have any communications? Not hearing any communications, let's move on to the mayor's report.
All right, I got a couple things. We'll see if I can make it last for 5 minutes for Dr. Traki here. Hang on. All right, number one, and I'm glad to see that John Helbig's here. We have our citywide cleanup day, which is going to be April 5th. It's a Saturday. We're going to meet at Public Works at 8:45, right on Center Street, right behind Gregory's. We're looking for volunteers to come out. We supply you with gloves, vests, little claws and bags. We'll distribute you guys. John will distribute everyone out in certain areas. You clean up, you leave the bags filled, and Public Works will come by and swing by. They'll pick that up. Takes about 3 hours. It's something great that we do for the community. So hopefully we can pass the word. We got that on the website. And hopefully we get a bunch of people and we clean this town up. Number two, we have our annual Easter egg hunt that's going to be put on by the Summers Point PAL. This is going to be April 12th, and it's from ages 0 to 10, and it'll be sectioned off in, certain groups for certain age, certain areas. And that is going to be at Kennedy Park, and that is going to start at 10 a.m. And then I was just informed by Shelby today is that we are now going to have our free rabies clinic. And I know it's pretty early. It's not until May 17th. It's from 9 to 7 in the Public Works garage, same as it always was.
9
Huh?
to 11.
What'd I say? 9 to 7? 9 to 11. Keep me straight, thanks.
Saying all day.
I'm new at this. So But we're doing that again, and like I said, I know that's not until May, but we'll get more information, more specific, but just throw that on your calendar to get a free rabies shot for your cat and dog. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Which one?
The rabies shot.
17th of May,
Okay, 17th of May.
9 to 11, not 7.
Administrators report. Mr. Frost?
Sure. This is not a big thing, but both the playground equipment at the Summersville Beach and JFK were installed early. It wasn't supposed to be until late April or early May, but those projects have been completed and they're all ready to go.
Yeah, I saw the one down at the beach, it looks great.
Yeah, it does, looks
Yeah.
very nice. And it was kids down in the park on the new stuff this afternoon, so that was great to see. Everybody was out. It was a nice afternoon. Anything else, Mr. Frost?
That's it. That's
Mr. Smith?
I have two items that will probably are better addressed under old business. One's the Audi redevelopment agreement and request by their attorney relative to commencement of construction, demolition and construction. I have just a short statement. We can keep this in old business. We could schedule this for an executive session at the next meeting. It deals with the outdoor Garden State outdoor, the billboard, I think, just so I can give a report on it. And I don't think we need to go to executive session at the next council.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll report.
Anything else?
That's everything.
I guess we're still waiting for Dr. Trocchi, I'm sorry. How about if we move on then to committee reports? Do we have any committee reports?
Yeah, Council
Mr. Chairman?
Let's start down here.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, I have a report from EDAC. We had the EDAC meeting last night. First off, Rob Hopkins did a good job as vice chair, chairing the meeting since Chuck Westcott is out of town. One of the items that was discussed is the South Jersey racing, the boat racing people that have come here like 3 years in a row. Last year, they weren't able to make it. They're coming back this year on June 29th. They've already gotten approval from the rec board. They asked EDAC about becoming involved under our tourism committee on promoting that event and trying to make it something bigger than what it is. The 3 years they were here, every year they had more and more people come to that event. So what their request was to put in was for $5,000 of EDAC support, which we explained to them has to be approved by council. And it doesn't have to be done tonight, something to think about. But one of the things that we did get them to understand is any Summers Point sponsorship that they obtain, we obtain, I believe Rob's going to help them a lot too, would be paid back to the city to lower that $5,000 seed money to get them started. The expense that they have is they have to have a dive team there, a certified dive team, in case there's an accident. Do you want me to wait a minute while you get that, Charlie?
No,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
that's all right.
I thought I had turned it off. I apologize.
Yeah, and they have to have a dedicated ambulance there for the whole day, which comes out to be a $5,000 expense.
Everyone check their...
They have two organizations that are involved in this. The one carries $10 million worth of liability insurance, the other one carries $2.5 million. They have all the credentials in the boating world. They like Summers Point's venue, they want to come here, they want to try and get all our marina and boat people involved, try and build up some kind of a Bay Heritage type thing along with the racing. And the thing that intrigued me about these people is we've always gotten people from Philadelphia to come here and everything else. All they're following is from Barnegat, Forked River, Toms River, areas that not normally people would come to Summers Point to gas up their truck on the way home, go to a place for dinner, things like that. So economic development felt this could be a little bit of a generator, and if we build it into an event where we could draw a couple thousand people to it, it would be a good boost. It's before the 4th of July, so the season hasn't kicked in. Some of those weekends are kind of busy, but not summer busy. So it may help, and that was one of the reasons why economic development considered this. And bringing it on to you, what I would like is for you to all think about it, and Rob will be putting in a formal request, and, you know, he'll be talking to Jason about it, and then we'll vote on it when the time comes.
Sounds good, thank you.
All right.
Any questions for Mr. Gurney on that? Not hearing any. Do we have another committee report?
I have a report.
Go ahead, Mr. Dill.
I just want to report on the planning board meeting last week. The DeFeo Lane, or the DeFeo Plaza was presented to the meeting as a holdover from the February meeting. The neighbors had some concerns, but the attorney, Mr. Davis, and the owner, Mr. Brayman, seemed to resolve most, if not all, of those issues, and the project was approved by the planning board by a 6-to-1 count. And I'd just like to thank not only our professionals, but also the professionals that represent Mr. Brayman and this project for the professionalism in which they conducted themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dill. Anybody else have a report? ahead, Jennifer.
Council President, I attended the school board meeting, and just wanted to let everyone know their next meeting, they're going to be introducing their budget. So they did have some challenges again this year with the state budget being cut, their funding being cut again, so I'm sorry, I forget the date. You were there, I didn't write the date down.
I turned off my phone, so I can't look it up.
Okay.
Couldn't pass it on. Anyway,
I have
we'll
one-
look it up before the end of the meeting.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
I have just one more thing, it's not a committee meeting, but I made a call, I'm sure everyone is very familiar with that beautiful crane that's sitting down on, right in the bay off of Bay Avenue, and we've been trying for a very long time to get that removed with no success, but I finally did get a hold of a state trooper with the Atlantic City Station for the Marine Police, and he was very receptive. Mr. Frost spoke to him as well, and I think we'll finally get somewhere and try and get that removed before our busy season, so,
That would be nice. Thank you.
yeah.
Council President,
Yes, sir.
the Arts Commission also met this past Monday. Great bunch of volunteers. We actually got a new volunteer, Kelly Carver. Appreciate her coming on board. Just an announcement, registration is now open for the Summers Point Arts Commission website for Create Your Own Vision Board on Saturday, April 12th from 10 to noon. And also Lost and Found Poetry Workshop on Thursday, April 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. Both workshops will be at the Summers Point Senior Citizen / Community Center, 22 North Ambler Road. That's it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, not hearing any other committee reports tonight. We'll go to Dr. Trotsky.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Ira Trocchi. I want to thank you all for allowing us to do a presentation. This is on the property at 939 Bay Avenue. I've owned it for over 25 years, and this is the first time I really felt that we have a great project to improve the property, but improve the entire area. What our concept is to build a high-end condominium home policy, a building that will be a showplace for the city of Summers Point and a showplace for South Jersey. It's a perfect location because we're right on the bay, and you have all the bay views from all the windows of the building. And the building itself will be conducive to a proper community, which means most of the people going to be living there are not going to be having a lot of children. A lot of them are going to be people coming from out of town. For example, we know what's happening in Ocean City with the cost of housing incredibly expensive. And we think that with this project, we'll be able to get a lot of new people to come to Summers Point to have either a secondary home or a first home in Summers Point to really enjoy the Summers Point area. Bay Avenue always been a beautiful area. I mean, I used to go there when I was a kid to all the bars, and the property I have is where the old Tony Mart's was. And as the mayor was just telling me earlier, Mayor McCullough used to work there, and he said on a busy night they'd have over 2,700 people there in the facility. So it's a pretty interesting history. Right now, it's a bar and lounge and nightclub that holds, per our fire marshal, approximately 700 people. So the concept is to build this property, which I think there's some photos there. Do you have an extra?
Yeah, they're being passed.
It's being passed down. The photos is, there's two basic concepts, and of course, it's going to be modified eventually, but the concept is to build approximately 120 units on site with sufficient parking that'll have on site per the requirements of the state and the city to meet all requirements. And the concept is that these units would sell in the vicinity, we're looking at about approximately $1.3 million to $1.5 million. And the advantage of that is, one, people coming in are going to be able to spend money in Summers Point. They're going to pay taxes. The taxes from this building alone is going to be substantial, which I think will be a wonderful addition to Summers Point to have the money and not being spent on schools. We just talked about the budget, because most of these people are not going to have school-age children. And if they do, the children are going to be living in Philadelphia, Cherry Hill, New York, elsewhere, because a lot of these will be second homes. And our concept is this will not be allowed for Airbnb or any of short-term rentals. And in fact, if they're going to be in rentals, they're going to be long-term rentals, minimum a year. And I've been in the apartment business for years, so I understand how to run buildings. But the concept here is to sell them and that the owners would live there. If you look at the site itself, it's pretty exciting, because what it does is it's a U-shaped building faced at the bay. So every one of the units has beautiful views of the bay, Ocean City, and in fact, the ocean. And the nice thing about it is the way it's situated, it really doesn't affect any of the neighboring areas. And in fact, the area to the right is a parking lot, and behind us is the Summers Point Mansion. And then there are some homes on the left side, but right now what they're looking at is the back of my nightclub building. And this building, you're going to have windows on both sides, so you're going to have a much nicer view than you would have in looking at the back of my empty, my building that doesn't have any windows in. And of course, the area will be high-end. You're talking of $150 million worth of property or more. So the people there are going to appreciate the values of the area are going to go up because of this structure that's going up in time and being sold to people who are going to be living there, using it as a summer home. As far as traffic, much less traffic than you're going to get from my existing nightclub that I have now. With 700 people there, the traffic can be very difficult. The way it's set up now, the statistics show that about 30% of the people will be there on an average time. So that's approximately 35 units of approximately 40 to 50 cars, as opposed to 400 to 500 cars for a nightclub. The other beauty of the property is, if you look, see the pictures, it's supposed to give a different feel for just an area. Right now, it's a bar. Across the street, you have an open bar now, and the concept is to raise Bay Avenue to a higher level, where the property values there and people seeing that this is being built will be buying properties nearby, renovating them, moving in or whatever, to increase the value of Bay Avenue. Bay Avenue has always been, and I've had property on Bay Avenue for, as I said, over 25 years, is really an underutilized gem in Summers Point, where it can be very, very high-end, extremely conducive to the community, conducive for business. And I think if we understand that, I think there could be other projects. For an example, on the north end, there are other condominiums that are going up from the Scarborough family, which I think is really going to help the whole area at a higher end to bring people to the community who will spend money, pay taxes, and not have caused difficulties for the city. So that's the basic project that we're talking about. If you have any questions, or if you want to show the photos to the public, if they have any questions, we're here. My partner, Mr. Solomon Dweck, has been building high-end properties in Jersey, Central Jersey, and Deal, around that area, and he has come up with some beautiful concepts in the architecture of this particular building. And we looked at it, we looked at properties elsewhere in New Jersey. For an example, you have in Ocean, they just put up a beautiful, beautiful building, and it's 100% occupied. And in addition, like the building in Ocean, we also plan to have a small restaurant on site. I prefer to have it a rooftop restaurant, because I think they're wonderful. We're discussing it. Maybe it'll be over the deck over the garage. So we're discussing what's the best way to do it. I just happen to have been in West Palm Beach. I'm a boat manufacturer, so I'm trying to sell boats. And the hotel we're staying at had an unbelievable, beautiful rooftop pool and restaurant. It was amazing, the views. So I was thinking, my God, it's just really breathtaking. And it's something different. So I think what we can do with this project is really compete with Ocean City. And I think, in a sense, that people want to be on the water, they want to see the water, they want to feel the salt air. They don't want to pay the crazy prices that Ocean City is demanding today.
Well, thank you very much for your presentation.
May I ask questions?
Yes, sir, you may.
Just some clarification.
Sure.
Just taking a brief look at this set of documents, and I don't know if it's changed or not too much, but if I'm reading your documents correctly, the top of the building is 70 feet.
Correct.
That's 70 feet above grade or 70 feet above sea level? From grade.
From grade, yeah.
Okay, and if I'm reading it correctly, there's 5 floors of units. And there's 120 units. And what's the rough square footage of the units? And they're all identical, or? 12
We
to
have
1,300.
you come over to the mic, please, just so that it can be recorded? Thank you.
12 to 1,300.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 levels, or there's a ground level of parking and half a level of parking above that?
Oh, so the ground level underground
Right.
is all the parking.
That's-
And then the next level is just on grade. We have the parking on the ground.
See, the way the property is gone, because it goes very high up on
Sure.
the road and low on Bay Avenue, we can put basement
step
parking,
into that,
in
sure.
a sense, which is great because it doesn't affect anything, and the rest of it is surface parking and parking under the building itself.
Okay.
So we have 78 parking spots underground, and then we have, if I recall correctly, I think it's 50 something. Let me just double check.
47.
And then we have 47. Yeah, thank you. 47 spots on the
The grade.
around the building.
So it's a total of 125 parking spaces on the property?
Yeah,
Okay, and you said 120 units?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's additional parking in the front, too. You didn't mention that.
120, yes, I mean,
Because you have to do, you have to, I think there's 1.2 parking spots per unit.
but I don't know if there's 100, I'm not sure if there's 120 units in the building. I think there's less than that.
I thought it was 102 earlier on when we talked.
Yes.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
know, and then, of
102 and
course,
we have 100, yeah.
All right,
that
but
was-
we talked about the other 20 units
Right.
built elsewhere.
Okay, so well, let's get that on the table here. Obviously, there's an affordable housing obligation associated with that.
Correct, correct.
And your intention is how to deal with, how to address that?
Well, we prefer to build it elsewhere in Summers Point.
Right.
In a more appropriate area, not as an expensive area as
Sure.
this. Where, you know, you can put the affordable housing and make it in an area where it's less expensive, to be honest with you.
Okay. So at 102 units, you would need 21 or whatever the number would be
Yes, correct,
to there. And that is yet to be determined where that would be.
correct.
Okay. Unrelated to this, so, I mean, I'm not sure what the process is you're looking for us. Could you explain, you're making a presentation here,
Yes, well,
Is-
you know, to make it work easy is a redevelopment deal.
okay?
And the reason why redevelopment deal is, city council has the permission of the state to do redevelopment deals where these type of projects can be done quicker than going through the normal zoning process, and, because that can take a long, long time to get done, as opposed to when you do redevelopment. And also, because of it, you can do a tax situation that the taxes go to the city as opposed to going to the state. And that you can do as part of the redevelopment deal, as a program.
Okay, but what you're suggesting there is we enter into some sort of pilot of payment in lieu of taxes.
Exactly.
But, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I just want to clarify, because obviously we have a lot of interested people here. Are you looking for a reduction in what your taxes would be?
Well, what we're trying to do is make it conducive for the guys who are going to be buying the units.
Okay?
So it would ask for a reduction in the beginning, then going up as, you know, the years go by. But, you know, eventually, let's say within 5 years, it'll be standard market. And the beauty of the pilot program, all that money would go to the city of Summers Point, which I think is part of an advantage for the city,
Sure.
you know, as opposed to us. We're just looking, look, if the customers buy it, I personally don't care. I pay my taxes. They should pay their taxes.
Okay.
But to get them in the beginning, you want to give them a bit of a break. Most cities do it
Okay.
because
but it-
you want to get
but-
the customers in.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, we're just starting this process, or just, this is a sort of an introduction of what what your concept here is. But it would be difficult for me to support something, you know, the way the economy is right now, and the way this market is right now, and obviously, we just discussed our budget. And while the increase, in my opinion, was reasonable, many may not agree with that, it would be difficult to give a tax break based on that. But again, you know, everything would be, that would have to be a discussion, but as I sit here today, it would be difficult for me to imagine doing that.
Almost every city is doing it because you want to get people to come in, you know.
Well, and I understand that, and-
You know, again, the
and-
tax rate on these units is going to be substantial.
Sure.
And you don't want to tax them out where they will not come.
Sure, and I understand
Happens
that.
in many cities.
And in the past, you know, prior to the pandemic, and when things were a little different than they are today, we did have programs like that. And it did, in my opinion, spurred a lot of people in this community to enhance their homes and really kind of, I don't want to say it was the main driver of what turned some of the stuff around, and some of the positive stuff that's going on here. But, you know, we're in different times now. We're in very, you know, like I say, the market's pretty hot, just like you described earlier. So, again, it might be difficult, but, I mean.
Well, again,
that-
that's something to look at, but on
Right,
the other
sure,
hand,
sure.
this, you know, building, as I discussed, there's going to be almost no children. There's,
Sure.
you know, you're not dealing with, you know, people are going to need a lot of city services. The services generally are going to be taken care of by the building itself, the
Sure.
condominium. So not going to be a big expense on the city at all.
Sure. Okay, so let's just talk about something else, where you talked about the nightclub, having, 700 people in that nightclub. I mean, it's been a while since there's been 700 people in there. Right?
Well, but, I mean, let's be honest, I'm a business guy.
No, I understand.
Again, if I can't get a project that makes sense.
Right,
I
sure.
have to open up the nightclub again.
Sure, I
I don't have a
understand that.
choice.
All right,
I've
so-
been trying not to.
Yeah.
And one of the things is, I saw what's across the street.
Yeah.
Where they're having 1,000 people there, and I did not want to add to that.
Yeah.
Because then, you're going to be having a lot of traffic, a lot of people, in Summers Point that you probably wouldn't want to have people drinking.
Well, we don't
all
get into
that.
that, but, okay, so let's just go, let me just ask one more question. I don't want to monopolize the discussion here. I'm assuming you're an architect, rather. But there hasn't been any engineering done on this as far as a site plan or any kind of, I'm not looking, I don't see any site plan on here. Where's the traffic flowing in and out? Do you envision both an exit and an entrance off of Bay Avenue, off of Gull, off of Shore, or?
So we were discussing, Ira, that we thought the smarter idea was to get it not off of Bay Avenue and try to get it off of Gull will be probably more, better for the area. That's what we're thinking.
Sure, but Gull is really not a very large street.
No,
You know,
you're going to have an entrance and exit, but
Sure,
remember.
no doubt.
It's right now, I mean, the way it is now, we have two exits and two entrances. As a nightclub, again, having 700 people, we did in the past, it's a lot of traffic, no question about it. Here, as I said, the average, we've worked out, the most you're gonna have is 30 units at a time. So you're talking about 30 cars. You're talking about 60 people in the building at one time. It's gonna be rarely you're gonna have all of them there. And even if you had all of them, the average is gonna be 150 people, you're gonna have 1.5 in an apartment. That's if you had them all 100%, which you're not gonna have. The statistics show in the different buildings, and I've looked at the buildings similar in Margate, Longport, and elsewhere, and Atlantic City, the percentage is about 30-some% at any one time.
I have to push back on it, even in the height of the summer.
Well, yeah, again, I'm talking about year-round.
Sure, okay.
Percentage-wise, yes.
All right. Just one last question,
Sure.
unrelated to the building.
Just one second before that, so I'm saying, well, in your opinion, where do you think the smarter place to have the entrance and exit? We
Oh,
thought that's smarter.
I would not be able, I'm not a civil engineer.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't, I don't want to go on the record.
I'm a doctor, I know where to put them.
Well, okay, but I mean, it's obviously, it's not that simple. It's,
Right.
that has to be
Yeah.
reviewed and studied,
Yeah.
that's not, you can't put me on the spot for that.
Yeah, I'll transcribe.
But let me just, okay, as this process goes along, and it's a very ambitious project, what do you plan to do in the meantime with the building as it sits now?
Well, once we get approval, and going through and starting building, we're knocking the existing building down, and we're probably gonna put a sample unit to show people what it would look like.
Or another option was to take the actual building and fit it out, so people could be able to actually walk through and actually, retrofit and to make it feel like one of the apartments.
Do a mock-up.
Like
But you're not going to do any of those until,
Till we get approval,
Of
correct?
course.
okay.
We're just gonna make.
Well, the approval process, if we go through from whatever the next step is from here, if we take another step, it may take a while.
Well, that's the reason why it's a redevelopment as opposed to a standard
Okay.
zoning board.
All right.
Which can take a long time.
Does anybody
Thank
else?
you. I'll yield to the rest of you.
I got a couple of questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Garrity.
First off, what's your estimate on what this building's going to cost to build?
We're talking somewhere about 70 to 100 million.
Okay. Your COA units, you said you were going to build them off-site.
That's what we plan to do.
Would they be in Summers Point?
Well, they have to be in Summers Point.
Okay.
For the law. I prefer just paying money so I don't have to build them there.
Okay.
But the law says we have to build them in Summers Point.
And they would probably have children that would be in the school system, being affordable
Well,
houses.
The concept that we're working on is to do it for senior living. That's the concept, more of a
Okay.
senior living place.
Okay, and the last question I have for you, this seems like a lot of lot coverage. What's your estimate on lot coverage? I mean, it looks like it's probably over 80%.
Point is, it's the existing lot coverage, I think, is the same exact amount of lot coverage that's there is what we're using.
Yeah,
So we're not changing that from what's there existing.
okay. No, thank you.
I have a
Go ahead, Mr.
couple
Dill.
questions. You had mentioned in speaking about managing the play of the property. Okay, are you gonna have once these properties are sold, are you gonna have a homeowners association?
You have to.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, you have to have a condo.
You'd have to have a condo association,
Yes.
and they would make the rules.
Well, we make the rules initially.
Right.
And then what happens is there's a certain percentage of the unit owners that if they want to change the rules, they have the right to, but it's not so easy.
Okay. And again, my concern is that, you had mentioned no Airbnbs, but that would be the homeowners association unless we put some type of restriction in the redevelopment.
Oh, I want to put a reason.
Okay.
Research into redevelopment, not allowing Airbnb.
And the other thing that there was some talk, you had mentioned something about some of them could be rental units.
Well, again-
But obviously, wait a second, when I finish, obviously, a $1 million building, if you were gonna rent it, you wouldn't, I would hope those people wouldn't have issues. But I have a
It's going to be
concern.
minimum a year rental,
Right, a minimum of a year
Yes.
rental. Okay, all right.
not a summer rental.
Right. And the final question I have is, even though it's not a popular opportunity with this council, you talked about a potential pilot program, and then and on top of that, you mentioned 5 years. If you were going for a pilot program, are you talking about a 5-year pilot?
Well, again, I'm not a lawyer doing it, but a lot of programs they have is they decrease the amount of the increase of taxes over 5 years.
Okay.
So that the homeowner, when he buys it, he knows that, he's going to pay a certain amount, and it will go up every year.
Yeah, because
Isn't that an abatement?
there are various pilot programs out there, various years associated with pilot programs. Although I'm opposed to pilot programs based on the economy the way it is, the minimum that I would even consider at this point, and it's only me speaking, would be a 5-year pilot if I agreed to one at all. Okay.
Need a maximum.
That's basically.
You mean that would be the maximum, 5
maximum.
years?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, maximum is,
Wouldn't that be a tax abatement, not a pilot?
well, it depends.
Does anybody else have any questions for Dr. Trocchi? If not, I'd like to thank you again for coming in. The council will take this, and look at it and have some conversations, obviously, about it, and our committee will get back to you on what we think we should be doing to go forward. Thank you.
One other comment, we gave out 2 different renderings of the exterior. There were 2 different looks, so we want to get the take, different, one was a little bit more modern, and one was a little bit more blending with the area. So we have those 2 different options, and we're open to adjust to what we're looking to see in the area. Are we looking to try to modernize it a little bit more, or we want to try to stay within the line? And that's, we're open to suggestions as we gave 2 different options with the renderings.
As we go forward in the process, the one thing I know, we have a lot of opinions, so I'm sure we're going to let you know, okay? Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Council President, can I just, will we be having an executive session on this so everyone can
Mostly,
discuss
I
it?
think that'll be at the next time. I didn't put it on.
I don't mean
on-
tonight,
on
I meant,
tonight,
yeah.
deliberately, but, yeah,
I would
sure
assume
we-
the committee's going to review this first and make
That
some
is correct.
recommendations in
Yeah,
a
we
closed
will,
session.
we have our committee, we will go through it, we will make
Great.
some recommendations from there, and I think it's appropriate that we give ourselves a couple of weeks here to kind of, I always say.
Digest it.
There's a
Digest
lot-
it.
There's a
Thank-
lot to absorb here.
Yes, there is, so, but again, thank you for coming in. Madam Clerk? Where am I moving to now?
Approval of minutes.
Approval of minutes, all right, we're going to the approval of the minutes. regular meeting minutes of March 13th, 2025, and executive session meeting minutes on March 13th of 2025. I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve for content only. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any comments? Not hearing any comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. The above-mentioned meeting minutes are now approved. Now we're going to move on to ordinances. We have 5 ordinances on for tonight. The first one, number 6, is a second reading, so when we do that, we will open it up for public comment, and the other 4 are first readings. So, Madam Clerk, if you would start with ordinance number 6, please.
Ordinance number 6 of 2025, an ordinance authorizing and approving the execution and delivery of the Second Amendment to a long-term tax exemption and capital contribution agreement between Bayview Court Urban Renewal LLC and the City of Summers Point dated May 3rd, 2016, and the Fifth Amendment to the redevelopment agreement between Bayview Court Urban Renewal LLC and the City of Summers Point dated May 3rd, 2016.
May I have a motion to open for public comment on ordinance number 6 only?
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. We are now open for public comment on ordinance number 6.
Motion to close the public portion on ordinance 6.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. We are now closed for ordinance, public comment on ordinance number 6. May I have a motion to adopt and a second to adopt ordinance number 6? May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Go ahead.
Any comments?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir, Mr.
if I could just comment real briefly, while she read the title there, Madam Clerk read the title there, I just want to point out that this is an amendment to an agreement of a long-term tax exemption agreement that was made in 2016. And just to refresh everybody's memory, that was at the Atlantis. And as I said earlier, there's a lot of positive things that happened here, and that was very positive. And when we met Scott and his father, it was a very good day for Summers Point. And I'm going to be supporting this amendment. And it, it ties into the development, the parking lot development we had, as well as those units there that have turned out very well. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Not hearing any comments, may I have a motion to adopt?
You did that.
Already did
We
that.
did that already. May I?
Just need a roll
Roll
call.
call on this one? All right, may I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Dill.
Yes.
Councilmember Garrity.
Yes.
Councilmember DePamphlis.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnston.
Yes.
Councilmember Owen.
Yes.
Councilmember McGuigan.
Yes.
Council President Habercorn.
Yes. So that is adopted. Thank you. And we're going to move to number 7, please.
Ordinance number 7 of 2025, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the city of Summers Point in the county of Atlantic, New Jersey, appropriating $3,479,455 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,305,455 bonds or notes of the city to finance part of the cost thereof.
Okay, may I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any comments? Not hearing any comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. Ordinance number 7 is introduced. Ordinance number 8, please.
Ordinance number 8 of 2025, bond ordinance providing for various sewer utility capital improvements in and by the city of Summers Point in the county of Atlantic, New Jersey, appropriating $1,605,600 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,605,600 bonds or notes of the city to finance part of the cost thereof.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any comments? Not hearing any comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. Ordinance number 8 is introduced. Ordinance number 9.
Ordinance 9 of 2025, an ordinance amending Article 2 Kennedy Park Boat Ramp of Chapter 199 Parks and Recreation Facilities and its sections 199-7 Watercraft Launching Fees and 199-8 Permits.
Okay,
So moved.
may I have a second?
Second.
Any comments? Not hearing any comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. Ordinance number 9 is introduced. Number 10, please.
Ordinance number 10 of 2025, an ordinance amending Chapter 250 Vehicles and Traffic, Article 1, General Provisions, Section 250-43.1, Parking of Boats and Boat Trailers.
So moved.
Have a second, please?
Second.
Any comments? Not hearing any comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. Ordinance number 10 is introduced. Now we're going to move on to resolutions, correct? May I have a motion to open up?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any comments? No comments. All
No
in favor?
comments.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. We are now open for comments from the public on resolutions only.
Motion to close.
We have.
Yep, we got somebody coming up.
Motion to close.
No
Second.
motion. No, stop.
Calm down, calm down.
I made him stop, Pat.
Tricia Pearson, 587 Marks Road. The one about the Ocean City and the court. 101-2025. Summers Point to enter into a shared services agreement with the City of Ocean City courtroom space. This is all temporary, right?
It's for a 2-year period.
Yes.
Why doesn't it say that?
It does say it
The
somewhere.
public's supposed to know what the heck's going on. If you're
does.
sharing something with Ocean City, you have to put down, you should put down 2 years, shouldn't you?
It should say that in the
Actually,
resolution.
the resolution, I read it, it does not, it says just till
It's temporary.
September.
I checked with Ocean City.
Right. We haven't entered into an agreement yet.
Right. It's
Oh, okay.
into the
Agreement. And
agreement.
that agreement
Is pending.
is pending, but it appears to be 2 years.
Yes, that's what we're
Right,
talking about,
right.
2 years.
Okay, then I respectfully request that you write it differently and the people know that it's pending, okay? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Anybody,
Motion to close the public?
Second.
any comments?
Nope.
Not hearing any comments, all in favor?
I
Any opposed?
I don't think you want those comments.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. We are now closed for public comments on resolutions, correct? All right, here we go. Resolution number 98.
Resolution number 98 of 2025, a resolution authorizing the City of Summers Point City Clerk to issue a Class C Retail 31 club license to SP Paddle Club.
May I have a motion?
Second.
Any comments? Not hearing any comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. Resolution 98 is approved. Resolution number 99, please.
Resolution number 99 of 2025, authorizing interlocal agreement between the City of Summers Point and the County of Atlantic concerning pedestrian and traffic improvements within the county right-of-way of Shore Road.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Not hearing any comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. Resolution number 99 is approved. Number 100, please.
Resolution number 100 of 2025, authorizing purchase of sports facility products through the Sourcewell National Purchasing Program contract from Athletica Sports Systems, Inc., contract number 120320-ATH for the City of Summers Point.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Not hearing any comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Not hearing any opposed. Resolution number 100 is approved. We do have three resolutions on the consent agenda. May I have a motion to?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Oh, everybody's alive up here tonight.
Yeah, we are lively.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. The consent agenda is approved. Does anyone have any old business, to discuss?
If I may,
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
if we want to make this a more in-depth conversation, I think that we should have an executive session, but there's been those who are involved in litigation with regard to state outdoor. There have been some settlement discussions. Anytime you have an appeal, you end up going to a settlement conference with a retired judge. I'd come back to you before an executive session and outline what the proposal was. Council was not that interested in doing it. I had a discussion with the judge, who then discussed the matter with the council for Garden State. Their suggestion is simply to modify the proposed sign by decreasing it by 4 feet wide and increasing it by half a foot. And I told the judge I assumed that, since this is not really much of a change, that I doubted council was going to really take that as a serious offer. So if anyone wants to discuss this, if not, I'll go back and tell the judge that,
It was a half a foot lower, 6 inches lower? Is that what they're proposing?
half a foot higher.
Oh, 6 inches higher, but 4
Higher,
feet.
but not as wide.
Oh,
Okay, all right, thank you.
4 feet less width.
Right,
Increasing it back in height again, so.
okay.
It didn't sound like that was really a,
That's a
real proposal.
It doesn't sound like it's very material to me, change, so.
It is, but I have an obligation to present
Right.
this to council, so unless someone,
Council President, as far as I'm concerned, it's a non-starter. We need to tell them we're not interested in that proposal.
Janice, do you have any, Ms. Johnston, do you have any?
I don't think it's much of a change, no.
Okay.
I don't think it makes
Mr.
any.
Pamphlis? Do you think it's much of a change, or just? Mr. Garrity?
I'm not in favor of it.
Mr. Owen?
No.
Mr. McGuigan?
No, and just to clarify for everyone here, this is an appeal on we were sued and won the suit, and this is an appeal upon that suit. And an attempt to mediate or settle it.
is that a question or?
It's just me pontificating. Thank you.
I believe that's a.
Thank you for listening.
I believe that's a
You
statement.
are correct, sir.
Yeah, thanks. That's all I needed.
That is,
Just need
that
to
is a
reassure
statement.
them.
So I think you
It
have,
is night.
I think you have direction from us, Mr. Smith, on how to proceed on that one.
That's one. The other issue was, you'll recall, relative to the Aldi, that part of the process is going to be the reconstruction of Route 9 and Groveland Avenue. Mr. Nemad represents the Aldi, and they do have a fully approved plans from the Department of Transportation. They're waiting for the Attorney General to release the documents for signatures without being told. They had come to us before and requested that we allow them to demolish the property while there's a tendency of the documentation coming from the DOT. Even though they don't have that present, it looks like it's very close. We do have a redevelopment agreement that requires this work to be done before they can actually occupy the building. They come back and said, well, if we're going to demolish it, we'd like to start the work. So what I need is a straw vote as to whether it's okay to let Mr. Nemad know that they can proceed, and we just simply have to notify the construction office that the permits could be issued. And,
For the demolition, this is? For the demolition? Yeah.
no,
Oh, okay.
no, we already.
We already did that.
Authorized the demolition.
Okay.
They decided they're going to demolish it and start the construction.
Oh,
at the
okay.
same
Okay.
time,
Okay.
Since now it seems like the
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, you may.
You participated in the discussion today, so.
Yeah, I know, that's
I'll
why.
let you,
Well, I gotta get permission first.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
So, I know that everything was hinged on the fact that they would make the improvements to Groveland Route 9, which they already got. You said that the DOT already signed off on, they're waiting for signatures.
Yeah.
So it's really not technically signed off. Even if we were to let them get their permits to start the demo and start the project, we can still prevent them from opening by, if they have not fulfilled the redevelopment agreement of having the intersection. So we wouldn't be able to issue, we have the power to not issue them a TCO and/or a CO until that gets done, correct?
that is correct.
All right,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
And that would include all the drainage and widening of the road and
Everything,
everything.
everything the redevelopment called for.
Because I wasn't part of the redevelopment agreement, so that's why I'm asking the question. I don't want to get caught in a technicality where they did half of it and they didn't do the other half. It's all of the upgrades to that intersection, including drainage. Okay.
From,
And we have that control.
when I went through that, for the sake of the public and for this council, when I was at that intersection today, they were doing some surveying that appeared to be, as far as the street, the improvements to the intersection are concerned. So they were out there interested in getting it approved.
They've been there a couple times, I've seen them, yeah.
My understanding to that is that's all the way down Route 9.
I'm
They
sorry, what?
surveyed all the improvements along Route 9 that are planned.
Plan for the whole road or just
Well,
for that
from
section?
Groveland to, into
okay.
Northfield somewhere.
I've seen them on Groveland several
Right,
times at that intersection.
So there-
My understanding is the state plan actually only calls for from Chapman Boulevard
Right.
north, okay? And this is actually
Right,
a
well, this
separate
was added
project.
to that, but I know that, I haven't seen them myself, but I've been told this.
I've only seen them at the
Groveland, yeah.
Groveland Avenue intersection, but it appears as though they're certainly making an effort. I would think they would want the intersection improved, basically with the same timing of the construction of alleys. So I think that's what their goal is.
I just want to make sure that we as a council and we as a city have something to hold back, that
We do.
they can't get in that building and operate it without those being
Build a
made.
building and that you can't use, it seems like a lot of expense, and I don't think they're gonna be too happy, so I think that, I think we're well protected here. I just need a straw vote,
Okay. Can we start with Mr. Garrity? Would you approve the fact that they could begin to do work?
Yes.
Mr. Owen?
Kind of, well, be nice to see the ink on the paper, but you can't hold up progress, so,
You're a yes then?
sure.
Mr. McGuigan?
Yes.
Mr. DePamphlis?
Yes.
Ms. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Dill?
Yes.
That's the
I am also a yes, thank you.
thank you, Mayor, for participating in the conversation earlier today.
You got it.
Does anybody else have any old business?
Yeah, Council President, being as the budget has passed, I would just like to take this time to thank our auditor, our business administrator, our chief financial officer, and the department heads for putting this budget together and making it work the way it has. I think less than 2 cents increase is a fabulous budget based on today's current economy. And I'd also like to thank my other members of the Budget Committee who put a lot of hours in also. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dill. I think that echo Mr. Dill's comments of all the work that went in, and also by having it done tonight, it gives our finance department, Jason, correct me if I'm wrong here, a better process through the bond ordinances and the other work they have to do. It's less rushed for them, and it's a more flowing process. Am I right?
You're right, this is actually very early budget introduction.
Okay, so I think that's, one of the things we're all trying to strive to, not to rush through it, but to do it the best way. Anybody else have any old business or any comments on old business? I guess not. Any new business? Okay, not hearing any new business. Mr. Frost, can we discuss the bills, please?
Certainly. This evening, we have a record of payments in the amount of $198,209.41. And we have a bill list in the amount of $2,209,940.41.
Okay, may I have a motion to open for public comment?
So
Please.
moved.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excuse me, any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. We are now open for public comment, public portion.
Close enough.
Patricia Pearson, 587 Morks Road. Are you going to do the parking or pass and do it another day?
What we did,
parking.
you're talking about the boat ramps?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what I had to do with Mr. Smith's help is put out 2 ordinances first, because there were some things that had to be addressed in the ordinances to tie them up. So our hope is, since everything passed tonight on the ordinances, we can do the second reading of the ordinances, Mr. Smith, at the next meeting, and have the resolution on at the next meeting.
The Sentinel Ledger has a big article.
I read it.
Did you read it?
I would have loved to have had the resolution out, but when we started digging in and peeling back the onion a little bit, there was some things that really had to technically be corrected in the ordinances, and I didn't want to, there's a process for that, so that's why we pushed it back to the next meeting.
Tell the public, because some people in the public want to know about that.
And
Okay,
I
and
thank you for asking that question.
You're welcome. Now, the sign at the diner, the sign. What did that do? Went to arbitration and you made it a little smaller and a little higher? Is that what it was?
Mr. Smith, I think that's the old business we just discussed. If you don't mind giving clarification to Ms. Pearson.
One of a retired judge. There's just some back and forth discussions. They made a proposal once before that council was not satisfied with. I expressed that to the judge. The judge came back and said, this is what they're willing to do, and they're willing to add half a foot in height and decrease it by 4 feet in width. And you heard council say that it's not satisfactory, so I'll be reporting back to the judge on that. The normal appellate division matter will proceed to do briefing and oral argument, and probably nothing will be done for about another year on that.
Okay, thanks for telling us that. Now, I'd like to say, short on Dr. Trocki. What is $1 million times 100 condos? Is that $1 billion? Is 100? How much is $1 billion? 100 million?
It's 1,000 million.
I can't think.
Let me
right
look at
now.
my bank account.
Because,
It's a lot of money, Mrs. Pearson.
yeah, I know. Well, let me just tell you something. High end, did you hear it? High end. Do you see the pictures? Didn't even pay for big drawings or anything. Took pictures out of, magazine, whatever. You know the story. Okay. So now, high end. Summers Point taxes are going to get so much. You're going to get this. You're going to get that. You're going to get everything. Okay. In a blue collar town. So does the blue collar town want this high-end mega condo? I'm asking you, but before you make all these decisions, I know you probably are going to be smart on this, but you should talk to the general public and see what the heck is going on. And if there's 1,000 people across the street at the Point, you don't even see those people. They might be here, and I live in that neighborhood. I mean, they're not overwhelming the neighborhood, but all these high-end. Since when did we have a historic district, and now all of a sudden, we're so high-end on a blue-collar town. Think about it.
I thank you for your comments.
I have to agree with her.
May I have your name, please, for the record?
Mr. Greg Clayton, 28 Delaware Avenue, Summers Point.
Thank you, Greg.
And I just want to speak regards the presentation that was put on. When I was on council, I saw people wanted to open a flower shop on Route 9 that gave you more information than Mr. Trocki gave you. I didn't see any architectural drawings. I didn't see any engineering drawings. I heard a lot of statistics, but he didn't quote anybody that could confirm that. And if you think the lot space is 80% now with what I saw in that drawing, this is a nightmare. I don't know what you're going to be able to discuss because he really didn't tell you anything. He used high-end about 100 times. And I have to say, the vague threat that he's going to reopen his nightclub and bring in desirables, I didn't take kindly to that. I was highly offended. So, I mean, if you're going to really discuss this, you need to bring him back. He needs to bring an architect. He needs to bring an engineer. There's CAFRA issues. There's flooding down there. That nightclub hasn't been open in 10 years. So I don't know what he's talking about, that, you know, it brings 700 people in and parking. And 32 people in a building that size, you don't spend $1.5 million and only come down twice a year. So, I mean, I was highly offended by it. I got nothing from it except a bunch of pictures. So, good luck.
Thank you.
Gary Gray, 28 Summers Avenue, Summers Point. For once, I agree with Pat. Back in 2005, we had a very similar
Universe, right?
situation where a very large condo project wanted to be built not far from where this Dr. Trockey project wants to be built. It created a lot of problems. We took the effort to do a petition. We garnered 1,184 signatures. We presented it to the city clerk. She confirmed that of those 1,184 signatures, 988 of them were registered voters of the city of Summers Point. It went on the ballot, and it was overwhelmingly approved by an 83% approval rate to keep the height at no larger than 45 feet. So unless I'm mistaken, 70 feet is far, far in excess. And the main reason was the density that would cause. I have a copy of the ordinance, which was introduced by the then Councilman Smith. It was Ordinance 8 of 2005. If you want a copy of it, I have them available. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but let's just clarify. That's Harvey Smith.
That was Harvey Smith, too, in 2005.
I often get, often confuse those two.
Thank
Yeah, I
you
just
for your
want to clarify
comments.
for everybody.
Evening, gentlemen. Gene Dobley, 2 Summers Avenue. It's like Casey Stengel said, or Yogi Berra, it's deja vu all over again. We've been through this, and all the things Gary said I support. So please use your good judgment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, and by the way, your house looks great. I rode by it today.
Tom?
I'm probably going to be your monthly visit about this bike path matter. I just want to
Name and
clarify a
address.
few things that are in the article again. I don't have to, and for my protection, I'm not going to, all right, for retaliation.
Who lives on Atlantic Avenue for the record.
Well, you know
Thank-
what, thanks
thank
for
you,
putting
Mr.
me in
Smith.
danger. Attorney Thomas Smith, I'll be sure to let my lawyer know that's you doing it.
Okay, thank you.
Will do. So the article talks about 341,000, just rounding it off, of cost, and how it would leave the city paying $265. You claim that there's going to be a grant for this benches on the bike path and a workout station. And I counted, coming over here tonight, I counted almost 15 from Bethel Road to here. On the other side, there's an average of 3 benches, plus the stations, a couple stations, heading up towards Linwood. So I think your excuse and grant request is bogus, okay? I don't know what you're really trying to do, but it's bogus. And workout stations will create a danger. There are gyms, that's where it belongs. You don't live right on the bike path, you don't know what goes on every day. You don't know what goes on at some of those little stations. I see it when I take a walk sometimes. I stop walking because of it. So I'm just trying to tell you, you better not plan on doing it, because it's just going to be a bigger problem. And again, even if it's just me, but I have a feeling I'll get some more support. Outrageous to even think to propose that, and then expect the city to pay for it. Resident of the city, there's gyms you can go for $10, $15 a month, so, come on. And if there was any right place for it, it would be down in what they used to call the pit. Plenty of room there, but I don't even want to see where we waste our tax dollars, when people can go to the gym. And if people want to work out, that's where they go. So that's the scoop. And if I am in danger, Mr. Smith, you will hear from my.
Thank you very much for your comments.
So you got nothing to say?
Nope, thank you very much.
I do have one more question. Is Greg Schneider, who put in the grant, does he live in Summers Point? Is that who his name is? Do I have the right name? Yeah. Does he live in Summers Point? That's a question. Hello? Anybody?
I think just like she doesn't want to give his address, I don't think we should give her his address.
I don't want his address. I just want to know if he lives in this town.
I'm certainly not going to answer that, thank
No.
you.
You don't have to answer.
I'm not going to, thank you.
Oh, I see. You give out my address to the whole world, but you're not going to tell me where this engineer, who's last minute,
Ma'am, I don't want to
something on
cut
the
you off,
agenda
but
that I never saw on the
your 3 minutes are up. Thank you very much.
oh, we're back to 3 minutes?
Yes, it was.
See you
Thank
next
you.
meeting.
Thank you.
If I don't go out of town, maybe next month.
Thank you.
Good evening, Bill Collins, 814 Bay Avenue. At the last meeting, was here, President Habercorn had asked some input from our city solicitor and our city administrator to look into the issues associated with the boat ramps at Kennedy Park and Gull Avenue. I was just wondering if there's been any progress with what they have found?
That's the two ordinance that are on tonight, was a lot of the work that we looked into that, to do that and get those ordinances out there, as I was explaining earlier. We put the ordinances on for the first reading tonight. The second reading will be at the next, and then the resolution would also be on at the next.
Again, but that wasn't my question. My question is, have they found any issues or problems with the gates to resolve it?
I didn't find the issues
That'll be addressed in the resolution.
yeah. But, Dan,
The way it had to be set up, if we're going to.
Right.
To get to that issue, we needed to remedy two of the ordinances. One of the ordinances didn't allow for the gates. That we had, so.
All right, so we're going to talk about, do we do gates or something else versus,
yes, in the resolution.
okay. That's my question.
Sorry, Bill, I would thought you meant a broader question, and Mr. Smith answered it, so thank you. Thank you.
Motion to close the public portion.
Oh,
Okay.
That's somebody.
That's okay, don't be sorry.
So my name is Michael Giannone. I live at 19 Cornell Road in Summers Point, obviously. In regards to Dr. Chalky, it's a terrible idea. We're, like she said, a blue-collar town. We need to attract families, not out-of-towners who have second homes and want to use us for their entertainment. This is a family-oriented town, not a tourist town. And you gentlemen up here have raised your children here. I'm a blue-collar man, single parent. My taxes just keep going up. And Mr. Chalky had mentioned something about whatever it was,
Tax
5-year
abatement.
period. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's my tax break? I don't make $1 million, you know? Like, come on. Let's think about the families that are here and attract more families to this town instead of bringing these bougie people in that aren't helping us. And that's all I have to say. Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
for
time.
your comments.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Hi, Maureen Helbig, 106 East Stalls. And I would just like to clarify something for the public. You guys put the agenda on 48 hours before the meeting. I've seen it on Facebook, which is helpful. And I just think people should know that if they want to know what these ordinances are, because you only put a 2-sentence thing there.
Correct.
Or a resolution. All they have to do is email. Shelby was very kind today. I emailed her within 10 minutes. She sent me the ordinance that I asked about. So you guys are making it available to the public, but you need to let them know, because reading this, you don't know what's in these ordinances. And Mr. Collins asked about,
Right.
and you said the resolution, you're going to read it next
Right.
meeting, but we don't know what it says, and you're not given copies here. So I think the public should know it is available. The clerk will give it to you if you need it, and so I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll make that clear in the future, then. Thank you.
Motion to close the public portion.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. We are now closed the public portion. Payment, I'm losing my voice here, sorry.
Pay the bills.
Payment of the bills. May I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. Mr. Frost, please go ahead and pay the bills. Comments from the governing body. Do we have any comments?
I have one comment.
Yes, sir.
This is my, I believe, 15th or 16th meeting since I've been back.
Yes, sir.
This is the first one with no executive session.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Well,
What, do you miss it?
I am happy to report that is true. But, the other thing I wanted to just comment on, I know there was a lot of people here, and we had Dr. Trocchi come in, much as we had a person present last time on 90 Broadway. And it's been one of our movements forward here to make sure that we have that in open public forum, so that people can come in and voice their opinion. So as we begin to undertake the process of what's going to be next, that we are getting input from the public. So I appreciate everybody coming out here. And
I have good of the order, too.
Say that again, please.
I have a good of the order as well today, seeing girls out there playing softball, seeing our field being utilized today. Like to think that it was part of the Police Athletic League, getting girls, practicing softball. So want to thank our Police Athletic Organization for bringing all that in front of our Recreation Board to fruition. Thanks.
I just want to go back to what you were saying.
Yes,
there.
sir.
And obviously, we brought, and when this was put on the agenda and we had this discussion, we certainly realized that it would elicit some controversy and some discussion. And like you just articulated there, that's why we put it out here. Because if we just dismiss him away and not have this public input, he's not going to know about the public input. This way, he's going to become aware of that public input. And as much as I love the Bay Avenue District, and I have an idea of what I would want to see there, what's he going to put there? Eventually, that corner or that piece of property is going to get developed somehow. And I think that if the neighborhood stays vigilant like it is, we'll be able to have a significant amount of input into it. So we need to stay vigilant, and having him come here elicits that input. So, that's why that's put there. And those questions I ask are try to flush out the details so that he gets on the record. So, thank you.
Anybody else have any comments for the good of the order? If not, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Yes.
Huh?
That voice note was that.
Is there a way we can blame the clerk for that?
Yes.